Hey guys, welcome back. This is ChosenArchitect, and today we're going to be getting some automated power setup. So I hope you guys are ready. So today I think we should work on power. Power is going to be something we are going to need a lot of, and it's going to take a little bit of time to actually get set up. So one way I want to actually accomplish this is, well, for one, is going to be transferring lava from some dimension or our dimension and getting it to our base. That's going to take a little bit of work and preparation. To do that, one of the best ways to do that in this particular pack is going to be using a dimensional transceiver. From what I was able to find, if you guys have found a better way to do this, please let me know, because I have went through every individual mod in here to try and figure out what I think would be the best option without knowing a few things. I'm not too familiar with Galacticraft, and some of the others, a couple of mods in here I'm not too familiar with. So there may be ways of doing it within those mods that I just don't know about. But for the most part, I do know a lot about Ender.io and a lot about RF tools. And these two mods are going to help me be able to move fluid and to utilize it properly. So the dimensional transceiver does require a few things to get started. And it's going to require us to move into the soul type machines, which are kind of really cool. I kind of like them. So for one, we're gonna need a slice and splice. So let's go ahead and map that there. As you can see, we're gonna need Enderman heads. That's gonna be pretty easy to get. We're not gonna have to worry about that too much because we do have access to the end dimension, and we could just kind of take them out as we get there. We're also gonna need an end crystal, which is going to need a soul binder with an enderman in it. Like I said, it's not gonna be too hard to capture an enderman, but we do need a soul binder. So soul binders are going to need solarium. They're also going to need the soul machine chassis, and inside that is going to need soul attuned dye blend, and that is the thing that takes a little bit of time to get, as we do need some organic black dye. That's pretty simple. Crushed quartz, pretty simple. Soul powder, pretty simple as well. The organic brown dye, though, however, requires twigs and prunings in order to get this. Of course, you can use actual brown pigment or brown dye as well to make this. Doesn't really matter. I kind of like the twigs. There's several ways of getting these, right? You can use leaves, and the leaves ground up can give you the prunes. You can just crush up more grass and get some. I don't know how many we have. Let's see. What was it called? Just straight up, just prunings, right? Twigs and prunings. So we definitely don't have any right now. So to get these, we are going to need leaves is one way. Actually, I don't think we have brown dye either. So I suggest probably grabbing some shears and just go getting some more clippings. That's usually what I end up doing, is just finding a patch of grass and kind of harvesting that patch of grass, and that'll definitely get us started. And I'm going to go ahead and get these leaves actually crushed up. I'm going to get all this started. As you can see right now, I am working on this. And that will clog up whenever this is full. And yeah, right now I'm just kind of working on processing tons of ore and stuff like that. We don't need the cobblestone being processed. I'm trying to get most of my ore processed. Soul powder, I didn't need that actually cooked up either. Okay. So most of this should be done. I have my quartz here. Perfect. All right, so I'm going to go get the rest of my stuff done. Let's see. We have our quartz ready to go. And yeah, the only thing I need is just to gather some prunings and to ground those up. And we'll get everything up and running and be able to make this soul powder, because I really want to get a dimensional transceiver. That's going to be my main focus for today. So now that I have both of my machines, the soul binder and the slice and splice, I can go ahead and place them here. Get them all nice, just powered, get them powered up. They do require a capacitor, so I'm going to go ahead and just use a basic one for right now. And we have to have an axe and a shear in here. And you can just use regular iron. That's usually what I end up doing. Is just grabbing like an axe, just a plain Jane axe, and some shears. No biggie. So now that we have this, we still need a few things. I'm going to need to take myself a soul vial to the end. And we're also going to have to farm some Endermen, because like we've seen, it's actually going to take a couple. So we might need to make some more soul vials. Along with that, I am going to take some quartz, and this quartz is going to be cooked up in my alloy smelter, because we are going to need some of that glass. So put this in alloy mode and just get that cooking. So I also, I did this in between episodes. I went ahead and set up the thermal expansion machines, just your basic ones, and I do have them item routed in the back. Same as this setup, where this, if I put things in the pulverizer routes items, if it can, routes items over here into this machine, and then if it, after it's done cooking in here, everything ends up in this crate. Same with this induction smelter. When it is done processing stuff, it goes into the crate. So all the things end up into the crate whenever it's done processing. And then these are the input crates. So this is all set up, ready to go. I just need to grab myself some of this glass. Go to the, well, I guess I'm going to make another soul vial, right? Because we are going to need 2 machines. So soul vial and be ready to go. By the way, be careful in the beneath, because you might encounter some mobs that can cause some weird things to happen to your game. I had an instance where after I got back from that dimension, after capturing one of the mobs in a soul vial, I could no longer break blocks and had to reload it back up. That was not very fun. And I don't actually know what caused it. I could not figure it out. This was one of the things that I had to load it back up, and I was like, well, I'm gonna have to bite the bullet and just rebuild what I had. Which unfortunately just was not fun at all. Yeah, so be careful capturing those mobs in that dimension. You can encounter some that can have some very weird, like, stop time, I think is what might have caused the issue, effects. So just keep that in mind. So I have just about everything ready to go to make this thing. The dimensional transceiver does take a little bit of preparation to make, but it is going to pay off so much when we get it done. So now that we have all of this, I had to make some vibrant alloy, ended up getting octatic capacitors. We needed 4 specific for this activity. So let's go ahead up here. Almost forgot one thing. We have to convert these into vibrant crystals by surrounding them by vibrant alloy, or surrounding an emerald with vibrant alloy. And then when we come down here, we're going to get into this machine here. First of all, for making the ender resonators, because we're going to need ender resonators for the head. So we can go ahead and apply that. That's going to take a bit of time. Let's go ahead and do another one, just so whenever that one's done, you can see the lovely animation while this is working. I really like this. And now for the soul binder, it's a little bit different. We need to take the vibrant crystal and add an enderman to it. And when we hit this, it's going to require 6 experience to do this. And of course, some power. So yeah, you need to make sure you have enough power to be able to do this. This is done, so now this should totally have enough power. This is running on a max octatic capacitor, so pretty nice. There's our ender crystal, which is really nice. We got to do 1 more of these. 6 experience, and that's ready to go. So we're just about ready to make our first 2 dimensional transceivers. And just taking a look at, you know, what this dimensional transceiver can do. It can transport items, fluids, and power wirelessly across any distances and between dimensions. This thing is beautiful and perfect for what I want to be doing with it. So now that we have this, we're ready to go. We have the ender crystals, we have our octatic capacitors, we have our ender resonators. Everything is ready to go to make this thing. And also we have our fused quartz just sitting around. So there's our first dimensional transceiver, and there's our second dimensional transceiver. All thanks to Ender.io. And now we need to move on to how we're going to get lava from our dimension or a dimension and get it into a magmatic dynamo at our base. So to do that, let's go ahead and keep our Yeta wrench. By the way, make a Yeta wrench, because the Yeta wrench is going to be super handy for manipulating conduits and things like that. Yeta wrench is perfect for that. So let's take a look at fluid conduits for one thing, because we will need fluid conduits. This is how we're going to get things moving from one place to another. And pressurized fluid conduits are usually the best for this. You're not going to need many of them, but we're going to have them here. And we're also going to need a builder. So RF Tools Builder is going to be where I go for making this stuff. So let's see how many bricks do we have. Just enough for a builder, hopefully. There we go. The machine frame, and voila, a builder. Now you may be wondering, what are we going to need a builder for? We're not making a quarry, right? Are we making a quarry? Well, this can do more than just quarry, and we're going to use this specifically as a pump. Now there may be other pumps, but I can tell you that this pump right here is going to work phenomenally. So let's take a look at the shape card for pump, and I do like the shape card that places dirt down in its place. So you have your basic card right here. We're going to need 4 buckets and 1 with lava. So bucket, we need to probably go all the way down underground and get ourselves one thing, water and lava. We do have lava down here at the bottom. Now I don't remember, I think we have a pretty significant lava pool down here. And we could, instead of going cross-dimensionally, we could, yeah, just utilize this lava pool, this massive lava pool that is down here at our floor. Yeah, there's like a big lava pool over here, or there was before I did this. But yeah, there's a lot of these. You can kind of see them on the minimap. There's a lot of large lava pools, and they'll last for a while. The nether, of course, is going to be the best place to do this, but this will work for now, right? Let's also check. Do I have a place that has water? Like that's a water source there, but is it like coming from some crazy distance? Some crazy corner or something like that? Yeah, it's going like to some crazy place. I'm just going to grab water from nearby. We should now have just about everything, I believe, to make this. What are we lacking? The shape card itself, which, there we go. Shape card, and then last but not least, I want this to be the dirt one, which it already is the dirt one, now I can see. If you wanted this to just completely drain something and you wanted to leave the like completely remove the fluid and just leave it empty, you could do so, but I like to fill it with dirt. I think it looks much better and allows you to like maneuver the terrain way better. So with the pump card ready to go and our builder, the only thing we need is some kind of power, and I think a generator. Do I have a coal generator just laying around? I don't. So just to get this thing started, a generator from RF Tools is probably going to be our best bet, as it is pretty cheap here. You can kind of see that. Pretty cheap. Just requires a couple of redstone torches and a frame. There we go. And this thing will just be what we use to get things jump started before we move power from what we're generating to the dimensional transceiver and move it back to our builder. Because we're going to kind of have a power thing going back and forth. All right, so we also need a dynamo, the thermal, and then let's see, magmatic. There we go. So a magmatic dynamo will be perfect. Let's go ahead and create that. It's going to be some invar. I should have plenty of that laying around. And now one dynamo is great, but we're going to, after a while, we're going to need more of these to generate a large quantity of power using the lava. But even one of them produces way more power than our 120 RF generating machine does down here. After one upgrade, we'll be producing the same amount of power that this is producing, which will be fantastic. And I think I'm going to have the power set up here somewhere. I think that'd be a good place, is to have it right over here. All right, so if we have our dynamo, the dynamo needs to be facing the opposite direction here, because the way you get your power is by this red coil that's on the top. It's considered a coil because that's what it is, and that is what generates the power. So it's probably recommended that you make a hammer, and it may sound weird that you're getting a hammer, but it's going to be a crescent hammer, and the crescent hammer is what you use to rotate things with this mod, with thermal, and kind of manipulate the machines. You can kind of see, you can rotate them, and you kind of want it facing this direction. So we can input lava from the top. We can input lava from, I believe, any direction, but power comes from here. So let's grab some conduit. I think I have a bit more power conduit. Actually, you know what? We might have to make some. Some of this. Yes. We do have some. Okay. So yeah, we're going to definitely need some power conduit. Oh, almost forgot. We really do need a lever as well. Because how else are we going to turn our lava sucking machine on? All right, so this will hook into our main network right here. So when this gets when this starts to get power, we'll be ready to go. Now, if I place down the dimensional transceiver right here, I think this has the ability to manipulate things right now. So we are able to just put that right on top and call it. Looks like I do need some basic, for now, some basic capacitors. Just to get these things to run, because it does seem like these are going to need power to even get started. Right? Capacitor missing. Send and receive buffer. Yeah, I think these actually are going to need power. So let's also set this here so that way it can receive some power. We'll put a capacitor in here. Yes. And so, yeah, this is going to cost a little bit of power to run. Hopefully not too much to get the lava back and forth. But as you can see here, we have a channel for power. We have a channel for items. And this right here is a channel for fluid. So let's set this to base. And this is going to be a public channel. You could lock the channel if you really wanted to. And we're just going to add this channel. This is going to be set to receive. And our other one is going to be set to send. Now for power, we can do it both ways. We can set this to base and send. And base receive. And what we can do is we can set this to receive and this to send. Right? So that way we can have a network of power going back and forth, hopefully. Hopefully this will work. Hopefully. This is going to be our send buffer. Alright. So, with all that working, things should be good, right? This is going to be our base. Be receive. I'm hoping this works. So, when we get to our next place, and we get this set up, this should function. Alright, make sure I have everything. Yep, we're ready to go. And let's go get some lava. So here we are with some lava, which is going to be a pretty decent place. Is right here, right under our base, really, which is going to be a good place. So let's go ahead and place our builder, and we'll get that situated. And then what I'm going to do is grab my shape card, and I'm going to shift right click on my builder, and it's going to give me a reference point. We're going to click 2 points, and that is going to set our reference for this build. And this actually makes it a little easier for you to maybe figure out where you want this where you want this thing to go. So you can actually build out. I'm gonna kind of mine out over here a little bit to kind of get my first reference point set. So this is my first reference point, and then I'm gonna go over here and be like, all right, this is my second reference point, and it's too wide, so I kind of know the distance that this is going to be set to, and you kind of see the shape here. You can zoom in. You can see that this is our left side and our right side, and this is our forward side, or it's actually going to scale from the center. And this is where it kind of gets complicated for some people. But we can actually place this inside the builder and access it here. And if we click the support view, we're going to be able to see it. If it was actually raised up, the parts that is highlighted will be visible. So let's unshow that. And so I'm going to set the depth, which is this right here, to 8, maybe. That might be good. Or actually, you know, let's just do 12 just to be on the safe side. Now, if I click the support view, you can see now how big this actually is going to be. And keep in mind, it's actually scaling from the middle of the points that we set originally. All right, so if we go in here and we know this is 2, I'm actually going to make this 2 section a lot wider. But I got to keep in mind, if I do that, it's scaling from currently where it's at. So if I scale this, say it's 2, and I go to, let's say, 30, you can see it's scaled from the middle. So think of us standing right here. It just added a bunch to the back as well. So what we need to do is bring this in the proper direction, either 30 or negative 30 to support this. So it looks like it did go the correct way, so I'm going to cut a little bit of it back. So maybe go 24. And let's see if it's kind of a game you have to play. But you can see right here, we can still come back a bit more, and it'll be right where I want it. So let's do 18. 18 on there. Sometimes you want to go about half of what you set this number to, and that will kind of go where you want it. Right here. I'll go one more back just to make it right there. 17. And this is changing your offset. This is changing like that center point that I was talking about. All right, so, and if you click on your machine, it's going to automatically set the offset for you, which is great. Show the support view. It's right where we want it. Perfect. And I think this is going to be just fine. I can even drop down this and go like -5. I know it's going to bring it down a little bit. See? And bring it down right there above lava level. And we're ready to go. So what we need to do is give this some sort of power for right now. I'm going to put the dimensional transceiver right on top. And then let's go ahead and give this some coal. Just jump start it. Give it a little bit of power to get started. And this is doing fluid. So what I want to do is I want to have this set to keep running as long as it has a redstone signal. And what it's going to do is it's going to keep cycling every time. That way it doesn't stop. Because if it stops, you're no longer pumping. So as soon as I do this, let's go ahead and put our capacitor in here. And I'm going to route this so it gives it a little bit of power for right now to kind of give it a boost. But I should be able to set this to receive power. Hopefully that does something. There we go. I don't know. I'm so confused on how this actually works. But let's take this on the bottom and configure, and we're going to set this to pull, and that's going to pull the fluid that's going to be pumped into here, and it should be able to send it here. All right, so I'm going to send to base. I hope that's what that's meaning. And flick it on, and it just pulled some fluid, which means it is doing something. All right, it just pulled the fluid, and we'll go over here. If we go back to our base, we should be able to hook this up and start pulling, once we set it up to be pulling lava out for us. If this works, fingers crossed, that we set this up. Some of you guys are probably like, oh, that's not how that works. We'll set this to push. It should be sending lava just like that into here. And now this is going to be creating... This is going to be, I guess it's only going to send a bucket at a time or whatever. But this is going to be generating power right now. And we can see that. It's generating 40 RF per tick. Not that much, right? It's not much at all. So what we might want to do is create ourselves a kit. And we're going to just create a basic regular kit right off the bat. I believe I have all the materials to be able to do this. So a hardened kit. And now one of the upgrades, which are called augments, that I want to give this thing is going to be an auxiliary transmission coil. This is going to boost the amount of power that this thing is going to be generating, and it does use some silver to do this. There is another one that's a kind of an efficiency. It's going to kind of use, less fuel, but generate less power. We're after max power because we have basically an unlimited supply of lava. We smack this on here, automatically it's up to 106, or it's up to 60 RF per tick. If we throw this augment in, now we're producing 120 RF per tick. And as you can see, we're starting to get a buffer now. And I want to see something though. Because this can send power, right? If I was to set this, I don't know if we need both networks. That's the kind of thing that I'm confused about. This is base send and receive. So if we actually, we could probably just remove this and remove that. And we'll set this to just base. And we'll add that, and we'll set this to receive from base. And the other one to send. I'm still kind of, I'm gonna have to wrap my head around that. My brain is like going, are you sure you know what you're doing? Because I think this is going to try and send power from here to there. And what I need to do is send power from our base to that. So let's see. Let me kind of wrap my head around this, because I think I know this. I think I understand this now. Let's change this to base send, and then it's going to receive at this one. And then I want it to receive and be able to send power to the builder. right? And we should be able to maintain that. Hopefully this isn't blowing over everyone's head. And I hope they're understanding the way I'm kind of going about this. So yeah, if I say I do this here, and I'm making sure this is getting power. Now what I can do is go, all right, base, and then send. Let's remove that. This will be base receive. Right? So now this should be receiving power. And if I turn this off or remove this, we should notice that it is still getting power. Yes. So it is still building power. And the good thing is it's going to continue building power because it actually doesn't use any power until it needs lava. So whenever it does need lava, this needs to be refilled, it will use the small amount of power that it needs to refill. So in all honesty, this is perfectly self-sufficient. So we can leave this, and now we have a self-sufficient flow of power. Wow. That's awesome, because now we can even scale up our dynamos. We can max upgrade our dynamos, because they're always going to be outputting more power than is needed to supply the builder to collect the lava. And if anytime we need to move it, we can just move that dimensional transceiver. Even if we need to move it into another dimension, the builder chunk loads itself so it's able to stay running. This is working perfectly. So guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode and might have learned something. I know it might have got kind of complicated there towards the end, but we need a good way to get power. And I think we're probably going to end up making ourselves a power room that is going to be full of dynamos, and that is going to supply a large quantity of power, because this isn't the only way to generate power in this pack. It's just one of the good ways to do it. So guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I hope to see you in the next one as well. If you haven't clicked that subscribe button, I highly recommend doing so. Also, I have a Patreon. You can find everything linked down below. If you do like to support people and you wanted to support me, you can also do that down below, or find it in one of the cards in the top right. Guys, I hope to see you in the next one. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. As always, thanks for watching.